At long last, the breakdown is back. I'm Norman James along with Brent Lail. So much going on in the world of sports, but from my perspective, the #1 story right now, Milos Raonic winning a SAP Open title in San Jose, California. Why does this make any sense to anybody here? Well, in terms of professional tennis events, it's the first time a Canadian has won one of these things since 1995. Milos Raonic getting the job done. He is a big story today.
And definitely at the SAP Open, it's the second oldest tournament in the U.S. besides the U.S. Open. So all eyes were on this. Everybody who's anybody has won this tournament in the past, and they've been just raving about this kid in the U.S. the last week or so, especially even after his great performance at the Australian Open, where he made it to the 4th round. Out of nowhere, I don't think there's a bigger story recently of a kid who's come out of nowhere to be in such prominence.
7, 8 years ago, Mike Weir wins the Masters. Everybody in Canada becomes an overnight golf fan. Do you think that Raonic's win in San Jose will have the same impact as Mike Weir's Masters win all those years ago?
I think if he continues to do what he's doing right now and cracks the top 30 and is consistently a seeded player in tournaments, I don't see any reason why not. It's a sport, tennis, that you got a racket, a ball, that's all you need to play it. It's a pretty cost-effective sport, and if you've got a guy that you can see on television every week to look up to, I don't see any reason why not.
What's fun about Milos Raonic is not just his name and trying to pronounce it, but he's 20 years old. He's from Thornhill, just north of Toronto, trained in Montreal, training in Spain to get his game in tip-top shape. He's a lanky kid. He's a monster. And he hits the ball 150 miles an hour, especially from the service line. He is an absolute specimen. And it's not just like some player or personnel or some individual getting lucky. It seems like this kid is on the ascent. So what we're seeing with the Australian Open exploits and now this tournament win, I think we're on the ascent here.
Well, he definitely has the technical skills, saying, on the broadcast that he maybe has the second best kick-out serve in tennis right now. And when he does hit, his regular, curve serves, he's going 140 mile an hour, 135, basically unreturnable. So if he continues his serve and volley game and the power tennis that he's playing, he can easily rise right to the top, because we've seen in the past, power tennis players can get there in a hurry.
Well, he's a specimen. It's rare for someone of his caliber to come from Canada, just because we just don't have the bodies who are training at a high level. So how far does Milos Raonic go? The world is his oyster, considering he's only 20 years of age, so it should be fun to watch him. Do you think the OHL playoffs are going to be fun to watch? We've got 13 games, depending on which team we're talking about, until we get to the OHL postseason. A lot of jockeying for positions still to be done. The London Knights in 7th. They're up, they're down, they're up, they're down. The Spitfires, they're down, now they're back up. And then the Owen Sound Attack, in my opinion, the sleeper team to win the OHL championship when it's all said and done. Let's talk about the Knights first real quick. What do you think from this team? One and done when it comes to the playoffs?
It depends who they get seeded against. I do think so, though. Watching them the last couple of games, maybe it was riding a high after the trade deadline type thing where they got a little hot. But watching them this past weekend, you kind of realize when you watch their roster, they're not really talented enough to go any deeper than one round in the playoffs. They just don't have the horses. It's unfortunate, because they've been pretty exciting the last couple of weeks, but when you're starting to see now the rookies getting into regular action, I think the adrenaline is worn off of the recent thing, but I think it's just going to be what it is for them.
So fans, take away from the rest of this season the fact that, hey, these players are going to be around for seasons to come, and they're going to give you a lot of good stuff to watch and enjoy in the next few years. But right about now, it's sort of a precursor to what's to come. The Windsor Spitfires, here we go. John Cullen takes the job from Jack Campbell. I don't think they're going that far with Jack Campbell. With John Cullen in net, I guess, who knows?
Yeah, he's been fantastic. One Friday night in London, gets a shutout against the Sting. They traded for him at the deadline to be a backup, and maybe they're realizing now that he can get them victories. They're an old team, the Spitfires. They kind of made some moves to go for it at the deadline, thinking maybe a third Memorial Cup is possibly in the cards, and they've been playing really well. But like you said earlier, they're up, they're down, they're in, they're out. It's just the whole Western Conference is just jumbled. Every day it seems like somebody's moving position, or there's, I'm only 2 points now ahead of this team. It's just let itself sort out and then figure it out when the playoffs roll around?
Real quick, Brent, with no disrespect to the Spitfires, I think their run is done. The Owen Sound Attack, this is as good a chance as this team and this community is going to get to winning a national crown, in my opinion. They have the best scoring in the league. They have a pretty nice little goaltending tandem in relief of the one-time #1 Scott Stasier. So the Owen Sound Attack on top of the West, and hey, all they have to do is win the West, and odds are that Mississauga is going to win the East. They get their ticket to Mississauga, the Memorial Cup. So, hey, these are good junior hockey times for Owen Sound.
Definitely, and we talked about Milos Raonic earlier, a rise from nowhere. How about the Owen Sound Attack? Last year finished 9th in the Western Conference, out of the playoffs. Now, all of a sudden, they're one of the best teams in the league. It's kind of the same thing, out of nowhere. It just all came together at once. And this Attack team is fun to watch, and they just keep winning, putting together a win streak and win. And you look at their roster, they're a talented team. A couple of sleeper moves at the deadline. They picked up Jay Gilbert from Plymouth, and at the time it seemed like, wow, you gave up quite a bit for Jay Gilbert, but paying dividends now.
Here's the deal. I think Owen Sound wins the West, and I think they get to the Memorial Cup, and what a fantastic story that would be to see that small community that loves junior hockey be able to embrace their team going all the way to a national crown. It could happen. The Briars in town were excited for that, and hey, happy pitcher and catcher day. They are reporting to spring training. More on the Jays and Tigers to come on future editions of The Breakdown. For Brent, I'm Norman James. We'll see you next time.